What are the implications for Jesus' view of children on abortion? Well, it's crystal clear, isn't it? At least it should be. Abortion's in the news more than ever and is really probably one of the greatest blind spots in America. 60 million babies in this country. Just to give you a little perspective, it's 4 times the combined population of New York City, Chicago, and Los Angeles. Think about that. Combined population, New York City, Chicago, Los Angeles, times 4. The streets of America flow with the blood of infants. And abortion is not good for the moms either. It's the 5th leading cause of maternal death in the U.S. No one talks about it. Post-abortive women have higher rates of drug and alcohol abuse, suicidal thoughts, and attempts. More likely to seek counseling or hospitalization for depression. Which is why we're so thankful of the gospel of Jesus Christ. Maybe that's you this morning. Maybe it's someone you know. You know what you need is you need the gospel of Jesus. There's grace. There's forgiveness for any and all sin. You trust in Christ who lived the life you should have lived and died the death you deserved to die, and your sins are forgiven. Guilt removed. Consciences cleansed. It's only the gospel that can be our hope and the hope of couples who've aborted their babies. So thankful for the gospel. And this is also why we're so thankful for the overturning of Roe recently. But again, as I mentioned a few weeks ago, the battle's not over at all. In fact, I think it's really ramping up because the left has literally gone mad on this issue. You know, you used to could find pro-life Democrats, but those days are over. Right now, there are even Democratic lawmakers pressuring Google to prevent crisis pregnancy centers from showing up in search results in Google Ads and Google Maps. Simply incredible. They claim that pro-life pregnancy centers are, quote, fake clinics that traffic in misinformation and don't provide comprehensive health services. You know what they mean? They won't kill the baby. They also argue that pro-life pregnancy clinics are, quote, dangerous to women's health, and that appearance in search results, quote, undermines the integrity of Google's search results. Just incredibly wicked. They don't care about women. They're not actually pro-choice. They want no choice but abortion. So we can celebrate just for a moment. We have to realize it's just beginning. I don't know if you saw Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren recently. These words are astounding. She said, quote, crisis pregnancy centers are there to fool people looking for pregnancy termination help. And they outnumber true abortion clinics by 3 to 1. We need to shut them down here in Massachusetts, and we need to shut them down all around the country. Not even giving an option. Just wicked. And this culture of death is not going anywhere, and it's even infiltrated liberal churches. I couldn't believe this. Listen to this from the Episcopal Church. They promoted abortion, and then they gave this resolution at their recent annual meeting. This is the Episcopal Christian Church, quote, resolved, the House of Bishops concurring that the 80th General Convention denounces the work of crisis pregnancy centers, also known as pregnancy resource centers. And be it further resolved that the 80th General Convention apologizes for the church's previous support of crisis pregnancy centers, as detailed in Resolution 1994 D105. Denouncing and apologizing for supporting the work of crisis pregnancy centers in the Christian church. You know what the Proverbs say? He who hates wisdom loves death. When in reality, pregnancy resource centers are doing some of the most significant ministry out there. And they're going to need help in a post-Roe world. Last year, 2021, 3,000 crisis pregnancy centers in the U.S. provided 486,000 free ultrasounds, 731,000 free pregnancy tests, and 967,000 free consultations with new clients. Such important work. And you know, when mamas are able to see that baby, it's a game changer. And sometimes I think we can hear about the atrocities of abortion and feel helpless, like, okay, what can I do? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let me lay out 4 options to fight for life, to rescue children. Number 1, vote. Did you know that Texas, the state of Texas, is 56 to 58% pro-choice? Did you know that Abilene, Texas is 54% pro-choice? You say, I don't believe that. I didn't either. When in reality, demographically, Abilene is 88% pro-life. What's the issue? Pro-life people don't vote. Pro-death people do. And so we got to vote. This November, vote for life. There's a lot of reasons to vote in November, but for one, here in Abilene, there's going to be an ordinance that's going to come to ballot to make Abilene a sanctuary city for the unborn. And you may say, hey, there's no need for that. Roe's overturned. Abilene doesn't have an abortion clinic. You're right, and this will ensure that they never do. Early voting begins October 24th. Election day is November 8th. Vote for life. Number 2, get involved in foster care. Abilene has a huge need for foster parents. Several ways you can serve neglected or abandoned children. Obviously, you can foster. Have several families. In fact, if you're involved in any way, even if you're just doing homework about foster care right now, involved in any way, would you just raise your hand so people can recognize? A little higher, a little higher. Several people across the congregation. What a huge need. What a vital, precious, but incredibly hard ministry. And so if you're open to it at all, let me just encourage you to do a little homework. Prayerfully do some homework about foster care. If you're like, you've talked about it and you're just kind of been on the fence, let me just encourage you to take a step, maybe begin some training. God doesn't steer parked cars. And if you're ready to foster, we're going to have your back. So we partner with Foster 325, which is a ministry that comes along and helps. We've got a lot of people already. In fact, we've got more Foster 325 people than we have foster parents. We need more foster parents so we can come around and help. There'll be some information in the worship center, the welcome center behind us after service. Melissa, are you in here? Wave, Melissa, she's over there. She'll be over there around the Foster 325 banner. See her. They have a babysitter respite class on September 10th. It'll be in our email. So you can foster, you can serve with Foster 325 as a wraparound family for our foster parents. We also now, mentioned this a few weeks ago, it's sort of a temporary foster option with Safe Families. Mentioned this a few months ago, and Safe Families is where we care for a child for a short amount of time. So basically, we're helping usually a single mom get on her feet. So we have a host home who takes a baby, usually under 5 years old. The average stay is about 40 days. And cares for the child while we and others help mama get back on her feet. And we build the relationship, we care for the child and put the child back in the home, and we keep the relationship. Safe Families, if you're interested in learning more, email Taylor. There's his email. There's also some brochures in the Welcome Center. And there's different roles. So the most challenging role is going to be the host family, but there's other roles that we can do. We've got enough people in this church ready to help that if you want to learn more about this, let us know. When we have a team together, we want to begin receiving children. So you can foster, can deal with Foster 325, Safe Families. Third way is to get involved here at our local Pregnancy Resource Center. We do support them monthly as a church, so your giving supports them, but they also regularly need volunteers, counselors, resources. Specifically, they ask for this. Right now, they're in need of these. Diapers, specifically these sizes, this type of formula that's hard to find. So you can go grab those, put them on your regular grocery list, drop them by Abilene, prabilene.com. You want a resource, you want to serve, you want to volunteer. Just last month, 8 ladies came in considering abortion. 5 of them chose life. Last month, they did 122 tests, 40 ultrasounds, gave out 236 baby supplies. Good work that will need our help. And a fourth way for all of us as we have these conversations is to advocate for life. Advocate for life. This is in the news. It's probably not going anywhere. So with your non-Christian friends, speak, defend life. Due to medical technology, the debate has really changed. We now all know that life begins at conception. Recent dissertation surveyed almost 6,000 biologists. 96% of them affirmed the view that a human being begins at fertilization. Now, the media doesn't want people to know that, but it's just basic science and biology today. We can see it. There's a man named Scott Klusendorf who's really done some wonderful work on simplifying the issues to help us advocate. And the argument goes like this. Premise 1, grab that back up there. It's wrong to intentionally kill innocent human beings. Premise 2, abortion intentionally kills innocent human beings. Conclusion, therefore, abortion is morally wrong. It's that simple. Now, there'll be disagreements, but now we know from both science and philosophy that this is a sound argument. We can show from science that the unborn are, in fact, human beings. They are distinct. They are different in kind from any cell of the parent. It's not part of the woman's body. It's distinct. It's living. We see them react. And some of the most dreadful videos you can see is the fetus reacting to the needle being inserted. They feel pain at the earliest weeks. They're living, they react, they convert food to energy, they grow. They're a whole human being. They come from humans, they have a human makeup, they're fully programmed. We didn't come from an embryo, we were an embryo. And so, premise 1, it's wrong to kill innocent human beings. We know from science that the unborn are human beings, but we can also argue from philosophy that there's no relevant difference between you, the embryo, and you, the adult, that justifies killing you at the earlier stage of development. Klusendorf uses the acronym SLED. Go to the next slide. Think about size, level of development, environment, degree of dependency. So differences of size doesn't justify murder. We've got big people and small people in this room. Level of development doesn't justify murder. We've got different levels of development in this room. Same with the iron environment. That doesn't matter. Degree of dependency doesn't matter either. Philosophically, there's no good reason that you could kill you then but not kill you now. So advocate for life. Google Scott Klusendorf. Learn some of the rhetoric. It's helpful, clear things we need to be equipped in our day and age.